Hello and welcome to this video field notes share out on the titles trailer. At first I was thinking about kind of like holding off and doing this on like the titles project overall after we get the titles featurette out of the way, but there's already quite a lot here, as you can see. So let's do one set of field notes for the titles trailer and another one for the titles featurette. Yeah, jumping in, all this stuff is in the first few timelines of the introducing titles in sequence project. Overall, the stability of the editor has been better than it's ever been on this project. I don't know how much of this is due to like changes with GStreamer or how much is due to optimized media or just like us doing a bunch of stuff all together, but like it's getting so much better than it's ever been. And I found myself like just getting lost in the flow of making this a few times. The first time, I mean, this video emerged out of essentially like playing around with an idea that wasn't really supposed to happen, but I got like lost in a flow state. So that's all really good. Kind of like a minor thing I did not expect, but this new like scaling the clip waveforms up with the larger clips has been so helpful with all this cutting to the beat stuff, because like we've talked about this before, we don't have enough visual fidelity in the waveforms to differentiate between peaks and valleys. And so at least like stretching the whole thing helps a lot. Clip attachments are just like, they're gorgeous. I've been loving them, and there's like a lot of complex layering going on in this project, so being able to like really visualize all of that has been wonderful. But on the opposite direction of this, like what's not working, what is so frustrating that I wanted to scream at a certain point. Multi-select copy and paste with duplication of properties. I mean, like, okay, take this for instance. This is like a title style that we use a couple of times here on the timeline. In any other tool, you would expect you could just option hold on this and like drag it out, and you would get a copy of it with all of the properties exactly the same as this one. And then from there, I could just type out a new one. But no, we cannot drag out a new title. So if I want a new title here of this one, using our current janky copy paste, I'll copy, paste, and it's all the way here at the end of the timeline. And is it even gonna, hello? Yeah, and so then you can see when I type it, this is another issue here. The properties are not even persisted when you do copy and paste. So in order to like do any of this, you basically have to like make one title, and then like come over here, make another title, say something, and then go back here and be like, okay, it's caveat 20 size. So we're gonna do caveat size 20. So, okay, that was an easy one. But for more complex titles, imagine like you have to basically remake it every time you want to copy. Awful. So please multi-select, copy and paste, drag to duplicate, and all of the properties should always be exactly the same when you drag out a duplicate clip. Left side trimming interaction is killing me. It really, really is killing me. A simple example here might be these beats are like slightly off, and I want to actually have this clip cut to this beat right here, right? So if I click on this, let's see, I'm gonna like click to have the playhead stay at that specific time I want to trim to, and then as I trim, you can see that the playhead auto shifts with the clip. So like I have no idea what I'm trimming to. Like I'm dropping a bunch of examples in this ticket about the left side trimming interaction, but the gist of it is like this makes me completely not trust any operations from the left side of the timeline, and neither will any users. So we really need that. Doing a lot of reviews on this project, and the idea now of these timeline comments, or like comments that are about a timeline that I'm working on, being on these library assets is like, it's something that's confusing to me, and I'm probably the person who's used it the most in the world. And so I think this is going to be a significant problem for users, and we really need to figure out how to get bidirectional sync between timelines and comments on screenings. Clip replacement, please, pretty please. Like when you've done something like this, and you've got like a ton of shots cut to the beat, you're not going to trust any sort of thing you have to do here where you're like, okay, I need to change this a little bit. So I'm going to like try to, there's like our hack that we do where we kind of like trim something to the length of a clip and like put it in here and try to like move everything over. The thing is, like, I do not trust this when I have a bunch of stuff down the timeline that could potentially be ruined by that. So replace clip, please. So those are the things that are like making me literally want to die while doing this project. But as far as things that I think just like kept coming up again and again as like this would make my life a lot easier, what's really interesting is like this is all stuff that we know we want to do very soon. Well, maybe not direct manipulation in the preview, but this is titles. This is about visual graphic layout. So like being able to drag the graphic around the screen is big. Library search, just because like there's a lot of shit in this library, would have been helpful. Copy and paste for the many reasons mentioned above. Add to timeline functions, because again, similar to replace clip, like when you have stuff in the timeline already that is going to get moved out of the way and potentially lose its sync, like I do not trust just like dragging things into the timeline, and I want to have like controls for a very precise way to add them. Timeline reordering would have been very useful. As you can see, like stuff started to get out of order between like the cuts of this versus the testing versus like trying to mess around with a grid. And I've also deleted a lot of timelines from here in order to make it all kind of flow better. But I would love to reorder these. Something that's interesting though is like I've been using the like emojis to kind of just like indicate what the category of a timeline is that when these are exported, they basically get auto sorted by the emoji. So that's kind of cool. Luke and I were like talking back and forth in comments, trying to mention different assets by being like literally the name of the asset. And we already know we can't rename things. So a lot of names in here suck. And like, it would be great to just mention an asset. Small thing is titles look too good. They look too clean sometimes. We need ways to better blend and composite titles in with the rest of the video in a project. So, the thing that my brain first goes to is a grain filter. Would love to have a grain filter. But you can also blend things a lot better by having just blending modes and like playing around with the way it composites with the footage below it. Potentially also being able to apply shader effects to just like all visual media in sequence could help with this, and you could do cool shader effects to make it blend better and roughen it up. Keyframing, we know we gotta do something about that. But I think also like a lot of the keyframing I was doing in here was just kind of like audio and video opacity fades. So yeah, having like a way to basically auto apply those types of keyframe fades and animations would be great. Bugs and paper cuts were discovered about just kind of like using titles. And I've been tracking those along the way. We've made pretty good progress on completing a lot of them, and I think it feels a lot better to use. And we'll continue working through these. Are there any hacks I want to talk through here? One thing is like, because we don't have a lot of ways to work with media aside from the text, I still find myself creating essentially like a lot of helper graphics in Figma for titles. So you can see here, a lot of these titles have this like matte bottom PNG here, but it's literally just like a black linear gradient to help kind of make sure that the text can actually be read on the screen. So I don't know what the answer to that is, aside from like, we can improve the titles with shadows. We can do a whole graphics system with web clips, but I'll shut up about web clips for now. New technique we tried as well was to create a split screen grid. It was possible to do so, as you can see here with the split screen of titles. But we got lucky in the sense that we have a 16:9 frame, and we have 16:9 video of these titles, so everything could just kind of be like scaled down into a grid. If you wanted to do, say, like we thought we would want to do like 2 titles on screen at some point, there's no good way to lay those out because there's no way to mask them or crop them. And so in order to do the split screen, one has to lay on top of the other, and then you don't have control over like what's centered in frame. So it's cool that we could do split screens. It didn't work very well though, and the compositing when we get to the playback when we get to this point it's rough. Yeah, so you saw like a few frames there, but it like really hangs up on those clips as well. Yeah, that is it for the Titles trailer video. Thanks for watching.